is Johnny with Johnny's BMW DIYs. Today I'm working on my BMW e90 335i. The front bumper has some paint chipping off of it, so I'm going to take it off, bring it into the body shop, get it resprayed, and I'm going to show you how to get the bumper cover off. Okay, first we got to hit these with a T30. There's going to be some little metal inserts in the bumper right there. You want to keep track of those. Here's the little metal inserts that go in here. Just use a little pick, pop them out. Otherwise they may fall out when they're getting painted, and really kind of don't want to tighten your bolt down against the plastic. Okay, so we've got the car up on a ramp, wheel turned in. I do have to pop the wheel liner out of place to get into here. So I just turn the wheel in, pull the bottom two clips there, and I'm going to inch this out so I can get to the two bolts that are up in here. The first thing I'm going to do is hit all the 8mm across the bottom of the front of the bumper. There is one 8mm on the liner right here. Just get that one out, and then you'll be able to peel the liner back like this to get to these bolts that are holding the bumper to the fender. Once you have the two 8mm popped out, you can just remove the bumper from the fender area. You just kind of have to pull it back and up and over this piece here. So now you're loose on this side. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. This is also a removable bracket. You want to put that back on before you reinstall, but again, this is so that you're not tightening bolts down on plastic. It slides up over it for reinforcement. Okay, now that we've got everything loose, the two 8mm in each wheel well, the two that bolt to the fender, and all the 8mm go across the bottom depending on what model you have, and you've got everything snapped loose. Get you a little cushion or something, whatever you've got to protect the bottom of the bumper if you need to, especially if you're not getting it painted. I'm getting mine painted. And drop the bumper down, set it on there, and you know, disconnect your fog lights. They just come unsnapped. I am going to take my grills out because I'm getting it painted, so I'm going to add that to this video. But the installation is reverse removal, pretty easy. So okay, one of the first things you want to do is just pull your tow hook out. It just has this little diamond shaped piece that holds it in place. My grill here has some little tabs that are going to have to be carefully maneuvered to get them off. Just have to be careful. Okay, I got all my grill clips loose. Gotta just be gentle with it. Don't bend too much so you're not breaking anything. My fog lights on this particular bumper are, well, I'm going to take the front grills off first. They're held on by two screws. Simple. And my fog lights just have one screw holding them in. It just slides into on the other side on that tab. Do have these clips. Pretty confident mine won't come off. But yeah, these little U-nuts that the bolts go, or the screws go into for the fog lights. If yours are loose, you want to take them off. Keep track of them. Next, I'm going to pop out the kidney grills. They're simply in with these little clips. They go. Once you get one loose, they come out pretty easy because they're all just kind of hanging on there. Just barely, but they manage to stay in there pretty good during normal use. Alright, so now I've got all my pieces off the bumper, got it ready so that I can wash it. Over here on the side, let's see, let me angle this up. Here, there's going to be 2 more clips. I'm going to take those out and set them aside so you don't lose those. Alright, this is got all my parts laid out. This is my M3 bumper on my e90. If you have a stock bumper, it's going to be similar. Now these little clips here go on the side. I'll show you over here on these little clips here. So the liners can mount to those. I've somehow misplaced one of the 4, so I've got to figure something out for that. Found another one that's similar. You get that one snapped on. Okay, I'll put the kidney grills in first. There you go, in from the front. Just pull them through, make sure you got them in the right hole. I have to test fit one real quick and go, oops, that's the wrong one. Sometimes hard to notice which one goes where. Just pull up till you get all of these main clips clipped in, and be gentle with the plastic. It's only plastic. Okay, got that one in. And you want to be careful with your paint. I just had it painted. I don't want to be scratching it all up trying to get these in. So don't force anything. If it's not going, you probably don't have it in right, because they do go in pretty easy. Get them all popped in. Looks like we're good on those. Bottom grill. It goes over these. I always use a rubber mallet if need be, but just pressing down on it generally will do the trick. This last one I might have to tap on. Of course, you want them to go on this way first. Yeah, this end one too. Okay, they're all snapped in. Just make sure you use something with a rubber end and you're not beating on it with a metal hammer. You could do some damage. Just wanted to throw that in there so you didn't get mad at me if you broke it. This one comes in from the front also. I just got a screw gun ready for it. Just pop it in from the front like the kidney grills. Put these little screws in place that hold it in. Fog light will go in next. That's simple. Boom. Be careful if you got to impact rust is plastic. I'm trying to be careful too. It just zoomed right in there. It's a very short screw, so just pull your trigger quick if you're using one. Really, it needs wiggle room, so I'm sure this thing's going to be in the best position it can be in. Okay, now the fog lights. I think this is the correct one for this side. You push in the tab, and you just got to kind of snap it into place. Put your screw in there, your nut in there, and that up. There's an aiming thing right here that you can supposedly access from the front. It's questionable whether you can or not. These have already been aimed though. Sorry about that. So you slide it under the tab, just kind of snap it into place. Bam. Okay, we're all back together. I'm going to flip it over, get ready to put it on. Don't forget to slide these back on the underside for support. These have a couple little clips, and you'll know if you got it on the wrong way because it really won't make any sense. Just make sure that those clips slide over the top of the bumper cover, kind of holds it in place. Got my cushion there on the floor so that I can set the bumper on it so I don't mess up the paint, even though it's painted over scratches on the bottom, because I didn't care about getting that fixed when I had it repainted. I just don't want to scratch up the new clear coat under there. Okay, get your bumper in this position, plug in your fog lamps, which I just did. I'm going to lift it up and try and position it roughly, carefully. Right here around the kidney grills, just get that kind of into place. And what I'm going to do is make sure, protect this side over here. Okay, you can see that. Lift it up carefully, try and get it right to pop into place there, because you want your fender not to get scratched or your new bumper. Then worry about under the headlight in just a minute. Once we get this other side on, kind of want to pull it that direction now that you got that side roughly in, so you have more room on this other side. As you go, lift it up, make sure it's all in place. Careful, if you have rough hands, you're definitely going to want to wear gloves, because you will scratch your clear coat rubbing your hands all over this thing. Gotta be careful with new paint. It takes about a month to really cure and get hard, and now you don't want it to get all scratched up. So you just gotta be real careful manhandling this thing. It is an aftermarket bumper on this one, so it doesn't fit absolutely perfect, so you do have to finesse it on there. I've got everything roughly in place on that side. This side came unsnapped. The clip mechanism came out too. Carefully snap this back up into place. Once it's you'll know once you got it up in there. I'm going to get up under and make sure the splash shields aren't binding up. It may be that I need to tuck the splash shield up in there. Okay, so it was that the center splash shield and the liners were pushing up against the bumper. Next, we're going to do these 4 inserts, little square inserts that goes in the bumper. If you got fresh paint on it, you may have to push a little bit to get them into place. I chose to pull mine out. Some people might choose to have them painted but on the bumper, but as soon as you tighten your bolt down, it's going to look ugly. So I went this route. I'll put these bolts in. It's holding the bumper in place more than anything. Don't want to tighten them yet because we might have to pull one direction or another as we're trying to make sure everything lines up straight for the attachments on each side. It's good to have one of these magnetic trays and keep track of everything for the job in it. Alright, I've got those 4 in. I've got 2 in the wheel, each wheel liner. I'm going to crank the wheel so that I have access to get to these 2 that mate this to this. Get them cranked in, and then I'll start fastening splash shields when I've done that on both sides. Okay, got the first one started. Just do it halfway or whatever, just so it has a couple threads so it's holding in place. The inside one's hard to get to. I've got it set up like this with a magnetic socket and a little hook. So when I go up there, it's not going to be straight with the line. I'm going to use it to kind of guide it to the hole. I'm not going to use a swivel socket. I tried a swivel socket and it keeps flipping around up in there. So I'm going to try it this way with the little hook. Okay, so I got the bolt in there. It's nicely in position. Did have to use a slightly larger fastener that I happen to have because the metal is a little bit stretched out in there and it wasn't hanging on very good. So I did change the size of the bolt going in there. If you do that, make sure you use a nice and short one because you don't want to mess up your fender with too long of a bolt. I got a couple of liner screws while I got my wheel cocked in like this. You know, you want to take the advantage to put them in. Hopefully everything lines up nice. Looks like I've got both of those started. 8 millimeters. Don't want to tighten them too tight again. You don't pop your fastener out. Alright, so this side's done. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you get the liner back here. So you can get up in here. I always start with this one. Get it through the hole. Get it up into the where it's supposed to thread in. So you got that one started, and you want to get the next one going, then tighten them. I got those in. I'm going to just do the liner screws again. And don't make those too tight. Alright, now I've just got a few screws across the bottom. Go into the splash shield. I'm going to get those in. And then we're going to tighten up the top bolts above the kidney grills. Alright, so we got her on there. All those bolts are tightened. Really all we have are these. And there isn't a whole lot of wiggle room on them. Guess you want to just let things flex so you're not tearing up your paint as this thing gets flexed around as you're trying to snap everything into place. Last thing to do, just snug this guy back into place. I'm going to do it lightly. I'm going to look at how everything lines up with the hood, and then hopefully it's spot on. Double check. Got nothing under the hood that'll mess up my hood. Looks clear. I'm going to drop her down, see what it looks like. Okay. Body lines are straight. Everything lines up. I'm happy with it. Alright, well, this is how you put your bumper back on, or if you're putting on an M3 bumper on your E90 model. This is an aftermarket E90 M3 bumper. Came with the fog lights, the grills, and I put some different aftermarket grills on here. So that's how you do it. Look out for some more of my videos. Please subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.